Hi everyone, my name's Phil. I'm a member of David Lloyd's Warrington. You might have seen me around the club. I feel like I spend probably half my life there. There's been lots of inquiries and questions flying about the club since we released the news that we were going to run a hybrid fitness race called 8. Myself and Alison are leading this, and hopefully, if you're watching this, you're quite interested in giving it a go. It is very much based on participation, and what I'll do now in the next couple of minutes is just explain a little bit more about it, about the background to it, and why we're hoping to run it, and what's involved. So it's a fitness race, or a hybrid fitness race, which means we're going to combine some running with some exercise stations, and we're going to use the indoor tennis court area at David Lloyd's Warrington, which will allow us to run around the perimeter and then move on to the tennis courts and successively move down the hall towards the club room. But I'll sort of explain a little bit more about that in a minute. First of all, you don't need to be super fit if you attend the gym regularly, and you can run a few kilometers, and you enjoy doing some weights or some of the Blaze classes and the other classes that's provided at David Lloyd's. Then it's likely that you'll get through this absolutely fine. There's no specific skill level that's needed. Most of the movements, the exercises that we're going to use on the tennis courts are of low skill level, and we are basing it on an introductory sort of level. So the weights that will be used and the challenge involved will be achievable for pretty much everybody, I think. So we've got a very low bar that's set for you to come along and give this a go. Now, if I've said all of that and you're still not quite sure, you can try some of the exercises once I've explained them in the club yourself if you want to. And if you're still a little bit concerned or a bit anxious, then feel free to maybe drag a partner along. You can both enter together, and that means that while you both have to do the running sections together, you can then divide up the exercise stations as you want to, and you can make some tactics there to get through the exercises, or the resistance type exercises between you. So the event's going to be on the afternoon of Sunday the 24th of November. We still to confirm the timings, but as soon as all the tennis courts are available, we'll set the event up. We're hoping that we'll be underway by 2:30 p.m. And we'll probably like people to turn up around 2, so that we can do some briefings and they can have a look at the course and get to know what's expected. The exact format is still, again, to be confirmed, but it's likely that we'll try to set off the fastest competitors first, so that we avoid any congestion on the course, and perhaps the slower people or weaker people are not sort of being chased along as they try to get through the event. We'll probably set people off in pairs, one for a little bit of competition, and also just to move through the field of competitors and entrants as quickly as we can, really. So we're expecting probably to be finishing around 5 p.m-ish or so. We'll be putting on some food, and we do have some sponsorship for the event from X Endurance, who are a nutrition company, and from Built for Athletes, who make the bags, rucksacks and things that have become quite highly associated with high rocks and hybrid type athletes as well. We will be charging entry, so it will be £10 each, and most of that will go on the food and drink that we provide for you in the club room afterwards. Again, we would like everybody to stay along. We're hoping to have a couple of prizes to give away. And again, the prizes are not going to be based on who's the fastest or the fittest. We really just want to encourage people to participate and give things a go. So we'll probably be wrapping up all in all around 6 p.m. But obviously you don't have to stay for all of it if that's not possible for you. We do also need some volunteers, just mainly to man the exercise stations. So we'll be using the ski erg, the rower, some weights and things. And it'd be nice to have somebody just to make sure that a lot of the stations are clean and tidy, and that the machines are set back up again for the next person, the next competitor. So if you're not quite sure whether to enter, and you think, well, I'll watch the first one, then one of the best things you can do is come along and just watch, and maybe supervise and volunteer. And also maybe you can make sure people are not cheating and trying to rush through the course without doing the exercises properly, so we can have some marshals out there. So if you are interested and you'd like to enter, then just head to reception. Next time you pass in reception desk, then give your name and your details in. We've got a form there. Ideally leave your £10 as well, and then look out for more details. I have been posting some information on the David Lloyd's Warrington Triathlon Facebook page. This now has been opened up a little bit wider, so it's not just for triathletes and people who do swim, bike and run, but it's also for people interested in multi-sports. So whatever your endurance kind of sporting interest, then you could join that group. And even if it's just for now, for this high rocks or fitness style racing that you want to keep an eye on what's going on, then just join that group. It's you'll find it on the Facebook search. So why have we set it up? I think it'd be nice just to give you a little bit of background. We know that fitness racing or hybrid racing, such as High Rocks, which is the most famous at the moment, these events are very hard to get into, and they're quite difficult for many people. They're going to take, on average, 90 minutes, I think, is the average sort of finish time. So it's quite an endurance kind of grueling event. So what we want to do is give people an introduction to this type of racing in a much more friendly and less competitive sort of atmosphere, and obviously at absolutely minimal cost. Again, the cost of High Rocks is quite large at the moment. It's also very difficult to get into those races, so even if you did want to, it's really, really tricky to get a place. And so what we're doing is breaking down those barriers, giving people a chance to experience a hybrid fitness race. We're also, I think it will benefit people just by setting a goal. We know that when you've got something to work towards, you perhaps train with a bit more purpose, a bit more intensity, and it helps you to engage in the gym more often, and you're therefore going to improve in many, many ways. So just simply having a goal could be very, very useful. Now, this first race is coming up quite soon. So what we would hope to do, if it's successful, is repeat it again in the new year, and maybe multiple times. But if we stick with a very similar format, you would be able to gauge how much fitter, faster, stronger that you're getting in the gym. So it would be quite a nice way to help motivate your training and help you progress in the gym, rather than just turning up every week and repeating the same sessions without actually knowing if you're getting any benefit from what you're doing in the gym. And from my perspective, with a health and wellbeing business as well, I think people who enjoy cardiovascular exercise, all the cardio machines in the gym, etc., they're likely to avoid lifting weights. And similarly, people who enjoy lifting weights probably don't do that much cardio. But we know that both of these is very, very important for your health and your well-being, and also your longevity, the length of life that you're likely to live. So encouraging people to maybe think a little bit broader, not just doing more and more cardio every week. If you're already doing 3 or 4 hours of cardio, maybe the benefits to your health and your well-being will come by adding some weight training or some resistance exercise, rather than simply adding more and more cardio on top. And vice versa is the same for people who lift weights regularly. Maybe more benefit to health and well-being will come from adding some cardio. And these fitness races really allow us to tap into that. So that's the other reason. So finally, let's just look at the structure of this session. So we'll be using the indoor tennis courts. We'll probably use the far end where the badminton courts are as the start and finish area. We'll set people off running around the perimeter of the other courts that are available. And when you've done 2 laps, so each run will be 2 laps of the tennis court, I'm estimating that that's about 500 meters. And as the name of the event sort of alludes to, 8, there'll be 8 run sections, each of 2 laps, and then 8 exercise stations using the tennis courts. So the 8 runs, approximately 500 meters, likely to be about 4 kilometers of running in total. Now, each time you come to the top tennis court and then successively further down the tennis courts, working your way back towards the club room window, we'll have an exercise station set up for you. So I'll just check on my computer. The order of the stations will be, firstly, the ski ergometer. So the ski erg will be 500 meters, and we'll set the resistance about 6 or 7. So it's a moderate level of resistance. The next movement will be a farmer's carry. We'll use dumbbells or kettlebells, and we'll be walking or running backwards and forwards across the length of the tennis court. So from one baseline to the other baseline. The farmer's carry will be 4 lengths, or about 100 meters of carrying weights in your hand. I'll do another video or another notice telling you what the weights will be. The next station will be bear crawl, which will be 2 lengths of the tennis court. The next one is goblet squat, which is 40 repetitions with, again, a kettlebell or a dumbbell. There'll be an overhead plate carry. So similar to the farmer's carry, it's 4 lengths, but this time you'll hold a weight plate above your head. Next one is sandbag lunges, where you'll do 2 lengths of the tennis courts with a sandbag on your shoulders. Next up is a rower, so similar to the ski erg, it'll be set on level 6 or 7, and it'll be 500 meters on the rower. And the final exercise, perhaps the most difficult, is something called the devil press, which will be hopefully right in front of the club room window, so that you can get plenty of spectator support at that point as you're nearing the completion of your exercise. And that will be 15 repetitions. The devil press is basically a burpee, but with dumbbells in your hand. And there'll be, again, all the weights will be published, and we'll describe the exercises and maybe show some videos of what you should be doing them technique-wise beforehand. You'll then from there, from the final exercise station by the club room window, you'll run back up to the badminton courts and finish at that point to finish your event. You'll get a time, we will provide basic timing, and obviously you can record it on your smartwatch or whatever you choose to use at the same time. So probably going to ask you to turn up for around 2 p.m. so for some briefing, give out some freebies if we can get them in time, and then hopefully get the event started at 2:30. People probably starting in pairs every 5 minutes from that point until we get through everybody, basically. I'm not sure of the time that it's likely to take, but I think the very fastest people will probably be through in 30 minutes or maybe even slightly quicker. But we're allowing maybe for up to 45 minutes for people to complete the course. That's the kind of distance. So we're looking at half of a HYROX essentially, if you want to think of it that way. Hopefully that video, I mean, I've gone on for 10 minutes or so. Hopefully that video explains everything that you need to know. You can grab me in the club if you recognize me now and you want to come for a chat. That's absolutely fine. I run the swim sessions for the triathlon club, so I'm also in the pool quite regularly. And Alison in the club room manager, she can be contacted as well, and we'll get you set up and sorted. So feel free to come and chat to us. Feel free to get involved. It is about participation rather than rewarding the fittest of the fit. Yeah, hope to see you around, and come give it a go with us.